Secretary Howard Lutnick, earlier interview on Squawk Box, of course, discussing the latest tariffs, which, as he said, they're really about opioids and preventing fentanyl from getting to our country. Joining us with his take is former Commerce Secretary Carlos Gutierrez, also, of course, chairman of Kellogg and CEO of that company some time ago, and a CNBC contributor. Carlos, always good to have you. I think, you know, we're trying to understand this 25% against Canada and Mexico, 20% against China is to try to get them to do more to interdict the flow of fentanyl into this country. April 2nd is when we may start to see tariffs that sort of are designed to be commensurate with what we have to pay or what our manufacturers have to pay to send stuff over to them. What do you make of it all?
Well, you know, it's important to focus on fentanyl because Secretary Lutnick was very clear, and he wanted to make a point about that. The thing about fentanyl is that it's very low volume and high value. So, you know, U.S. consumption for a year can be brought over in a pretty medium-sized truck. So this is not going to be solved quickly. These are a lot of laboratories, kitchens, homes, small apartments. So I would expect in the coming week an announcement about a deal between Mexico and the U.S. on fentanyl cooperation. That would include intelligence cooperation, intelligence gathering, potentially U.S. drones. And that's the kind of thing that would be a victory, and the president can announce that will enable him to take the tariffs away. It's important to remember that in 8 days, 25% tariffs go on steel and aluminum. That's the plan. So this problem with Mexico and Canada should be solved because those are the two countries that will get hit the hardest with steel and aluminum.
Yeah. You know, Secretary Lutnick did indicate that it would actually be based on reducing the number of deaths in our country from fentanyl, which, you know, I don't know what the target would be. Obviously, you'd like it to be zero. You seem more optimistic. Why are you optimistic, conceivably, given us, again, that the Mexicans have committed, I think, to 10,000 troops on the border and certain things already designed to increase the interdiction of fentanyl into the country?
Well, you know, deaths have actually declined. So there is an announcement to be made about deaths are declining. I don't think that these tariffs will be left on until deaths decline from here on. There are numbers that we can point to, but again, this is it's a massive challenge. So I think the administration will point to an agreement, cooperation, results, the fact that deaths are already declining. But I don't think the idea is to wait until, you know, deaths decline over the next 12 months. It's more about the agreement and something that can be announced relatively soon unless steel and aluminum tariffs will be delayed. So, you know, there's a bit of a bind here in terms of time.
Do you see any geopolitical fallout from what's happening here with trade?
Well, it's interesting as we get into Mexico and Canada. One of the big ideas, I think, that it was actually brought up by Secretary Besant, to apply tariffs, that Mexico apply tariffs on China, the same tariffs as the U.S., so that there's recognition that North America is a trading area. It is a supply chain area. I think that strategically that would be a great move forward because then it's not just about bring Mexican and Canadian production back to the U.S., which is, again, a bit of an unrealistic target, and more about recognition that it is a North American supply chain. That would create a geopolitical situation with China. But you know, that's going to happen anyway. I think China-U.S. will have to sit down sometime after the Chinese Congress, which is meeting right now. But with Mexico, if that would be a strategic solution. The focus on cars, and we heard it this morning, and the president said it yesterday. This is all about cars and bringing back cars to the U.S. I hope that the targets are realistic. The U.S. market is, call it 16 million cars. U.S. production is around 10 million. So we're trying to fill a 6 million gap. Mexican exports to the U.S. are about 3.5 million. So even if you wiped out all of Mexico's exports and you brought that production to the U.S., you would still have a problem. So I think this will be about announcements, about news, about momentum, and not so much about, we won't stop until we have all manufacturing in the U.S.
Yeah. Carlos, real quickly, what about April 2nd, reciprocal tariffs? Do you expect that, there are going to be a lot of them?
Well, this will be country by country. And this is where I think Europe will be brought in, potentially Korea, Japan, ASEAN, where, we have a significant trade deficit. So it will be a country by country negotiation, and this will be trade. This will be all about tariffs and regulations and non-tariff barriers. It will, it will be longer because it's country by country, but it won't be as broad in impact and scope.
Carlos, always appreciate it. A lot more conversations ahead, I'm sure.
Thank you. Look forward to it. Thank you.
Okay.